Malasudam Kumbha Vibodhamudra Vidyavirajata Karavari Jatam Apara Karunya Sudamburashim Sri Sharadamba Pranatosmi Nityam. Seeking the benediction of Jagannmata Sharada Parameshwari, Vagdevi Saraswati, that repository of all that is culture, knowledge, tradition, wisdom, art, learning and fine art, I vow to her as I commence my address today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this pleasant and solemn function organized this evening to confer the 25th Sri Shanmukhananda National Eminence Award, Sangeetha Kala Vibhushan Award to one of the living maestros of our times, and conferring the Sangeetha Shiromani Awards to 3 young musicians who have shown enough promise of graduating in the years ahead into musicians in their own rank, justifying their position to receive even the National Eminence Award from this institution. Time has indeed flown. It was as if the other day in the Golden Jubilee year of our Sabha, when we instituted the National Eminence Award as a means of recognizing artists of the yore and of the current, we began this journey with the Bhishma Pitamaha of Carnatic music, the legendary Padma Vibhushan Semangudi Srinivasa Iyer. Such was the profundity of his blessings at the age of 94 that it has elevated the award, enhanced his stature and shine, that over the years it has gained currency and strength all across the nation in the portfolio of award schemes of the institutions. The award was given by him in the first year to 3 young musicians, Sanjay Subramaniam, Niladri Kumar and Srimati Shruti Saudalikar Katkar. I think those blessings were so deep from the hand that touched those youngsters that Sanjay Subramaniam graduated over time to become a maestro in his own right and came back to visit this Vyasapita to receive the National Eminence Award of the Sangeetha Kala Vibhushan in the year 2014. And Niladri Kumar, a product of this own institution, his father was a teacher for a very long time in Sitar. He is an international artist of acclaim and repute. This journey had seen several Mahavidwans and Mahavidushis of our times, as the documentary had shown, being blessed and decorated with this award. They have been humbled by the sanctity of the award, the divinity that has been associated with this award, that has stood them in good stead in the years later when they reached peaks of glory in their musical career. This journey of celebrating excellence continues in our Sabha. From times memorial, Indian classical music has been promoted and perpetuated by kings and courts of wisdom. With the demise of royalty, in view of the sublimity and the divinity of the art form, it fell on to the temples and the devasoms to honor and acknowledge the contribution of the artists by giving them birdus and titles, and also have their performances in the Ardha Mandapams facing the sanctum sanctorums of the temples. With the democracy gaining currency, the need for an institutional framework for preservation of the culture of the land arose. Countless number of sabhas and cultural institutions sprang up across the country post-independence. We too are a product of post-independent birth in 1952. And all these institutions adopted various means to sustain the art form, and predominantly honors, accolades, titles, recognitions were one of the potent instruments adopted by these institutions to motivate the artists, enthuse them, and elevate them to higher levels of performance. The purpose and the intent of our award is no different from that of other institutions. But it has some ingredients of uniqueness that has made the award indeed very special. As I said in the documentary 22 years before, that is relevant even today, it is one single platform where the young and the old are honored alike. Honor the old and teach the young, says a Danish proverb. But this is a platform where we teach the young, we honor the young in the company of the old. And that brings in such level of motivation for the young artists that it sustains the art over time. The divinity that has been associated with the award of the Sabha, with the main awardee receiving temple honors, has indeed made it very special. Nowhere in the country can you see a format where temples of the land come across to honor an artist who has been felicitated by an institution. But singularly and most importantly, the most unique feature of this award is that this is not an award of only the Shanmukhananda Sabha. Every Sabha of this city, this great city of ours, and cultural institutions join the Shanmukhananda Sabha in felicitating the main artist. This camaraderie and fraternity that you see intersect amongst the cultural institutions is something alien and foreign beyond the borders of Mumbai. It is only in Mumbai can you see the deep connect between the institutions fostering art and artists in this country. And that indeed makes the award special. Sound by its very nature is disturbance. When it conveys no meaning, it is noise. When it conveys some meaning, it is words. When words are set in grammatical form or syntax, it becomes prose. When the same words are set in metrical exposition, it becomes poetry. When the words are soaked in emotion and set in cadence of harmony and rhythm, it becomes music. Bhartamuni in his magnum opus Natyashastra says, Yat kavyena yuktam tat gitena prasadayet, yat gitena yuktam tat nirtyena prasadayet. What cannot be expressed in words can only be sung, and what is defied even by music can only be through the visual expression, the abhinaya of dance. Indian classical music, like music the world over, is the spring of life. It is the elixir of life, the joy of life. Sound when stretched is music. Body when stretched is dance. Mind when stretched is meditation. Life when stretched is celebration. So the spring of celebration of life all starts with nada, the sound, the primordial energy that comes from sound, ultimately traveling through music to celebration of life itself. Indian classical music is the foremost amongst the various forms of music the world over, which have a dated history of more than 3,000 years. Its intrinsic appeal and the enduring combination of education, enlightenment and empowerment that Indian classical music provides makes it indeed very special. Both the Hindustani and the Carnatic music provide the listener consummate pleasure in harmony, rhythm and lyrics. This year, this award, the journey of 25 years, which is just an interlude in that long passage, is being conferred on the global icon, the international artist, Dr. L. Subramaniam. He has taken the flavor and the essence of Indian music far beyond the borders of this country to distant lands in all the 7 continents. He is probably the only musician hailing from this country who has performed, who has composed not just Indian classical music, but Western classical, both orchestral and non-orchestral, and collaborated with very eminent musicians across the globe in all genres of music. He began his life journey as a medical doctor. That is why he is Dr. L. Subramaniam. Not honorary degrees, it's a regular degree. But then, the compassion, the passion that gripped him for music, coming straight from his father, Lakshmi Narayana, made him give up his medical practice and plunge full-time into music. Like he and his brother, L. Shankar, also went into music, keeping away the professions for which they were originally designated for. And on an occasion like this, we can but not fail to remember his father, Lakshmanarayana Iyer. If somebody had globalized Indian music at a time when even travel was very difficult, it was Lakshmanarayana. He took this, a great teacher, he took the teaching of violin to Sri Lanka. Probably that is the inspiration that came on to the boys, that the art has to be taken beyond this country, and more so to the countries which will see the greatness of Indian classical music, the Western world. And that is why they succeeded in taking the flavor of Indian music far, far beyond these borders. Honors and accolades sit very lightly on his shoulders. Of course, he received the third highest civilian honors, the Padma Bhushan. They always say that the wheels of government moves very slowly. Corridors of power go into long sessions of slumber. I think it's time for the Northern Bloc to wake up and confer on him, sooner or later, the Padma Vibhushan. And probably to send signals across that the time for Vibhushans have come, we begin that with Sangeetha Kala Vibhushan today. So I am sure he is destined to go places and take Indian music to its rightful place amongst the committee of musics in the world. Indian classical music is distinguished from music the world over by the element of bhakti that is interwoven in it. It is the offering of the kalakar at the lotus feet of the Lord. Indian classical music, bereft of bhakti, is sound with a little melody, sometimes no melody. The greatness of Indian music is that it is offered as a tribute to the Lord who endowed the artist with the skill to perform that art form. And therefore, all that noise that you see in the southern part of the country is only an interlude, a period of challenging the very essence, the pristine purity of the Indian classical music. Like the deep-rooted banyan tree, no amount of force on the earth, adverse strong current can uproot the original sanctity of Indian classical music. Indian classical music shall and shall always remain rooted to divine. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita about Navavida Bhakti, that is offering to him, he said. But Indian classical music encompasses 7 types of bhakti. Isha Bhakti, that is bhakti towards the Lord. Guru Bhakti, to the teacher who gives you the art. Rashtra Bhakti, a music which does not take care of the greatness of the land is no music at all. Sangeetha Bhakti, which is the Shraddha or the Riyaz that you do and elevate music itself to God. Sangeetha Bhakti. Sahapati Bhakti, a musician who does not address the needs of his accompanying artist is no musician, there is no bhakti at all in him. Sahapati Bhakti is equally important. Dina Bhakti. Dina Bhakti is compassion for the poor, using the medium of music to reach out to the poor and address their sufferings. Rasika Bhakti. A musician is non-existent without the people on the other side. And therefore a musician who plays only to ensure that he takes his listeners to a world of ethereal charm and transports them to an enchanting world. All these components of bhakti, the day they are taken out from music, that music loses its relevance and it would no longer be Indian music. This year, the Sangeetha Shiromani Awards are given to 3 young musicians. It is good to see so much of smile on their faces coming over here, that the music of this land is so safe with all of them that we too can rest and believe that the generation next is far better than our generation to take forward the glory of this music of ours. Sri Ashwath Narayan is an engineer with profession specialization in industrial biotechnology. Those days, if engineers were to become musicians, parents will shout at them and say, I have spent so much of money on your engineering education, you are going into music. But then times have changed. The art itself is flourishing today, and Ashwath has come to this field of us. He studied under the legendary Padma Bhushan K.V. Narayan Swami, and after his demise with Padma Narayan Swami, his wife. Last year we celebrated the centenary of that Mahan Vidwan, K.V. Narayan Swami, and it fell onto the shoulders of Ashwath to come over here and pay tributes to his master in its centenary year through the only language that both the master and the student knows, music. He has a rich and a compliant voice which lends maturity to his concerts. I am sure in the years ahead, he will graduate to great levels of performance in Carnatic music. J.A. Giant, when I came across the corridor over there, he said, I am Giant, he said. I said, Giant or Giant. Probably his parents had given him that name. Giant is Jai, but also for the giant that he will become one day. He is an emerging version of Dr. L. Subramaniam. He received the Bharat Ratna M.S. Subbulakshmi Fellowship in Music from our Sabha in the year 2015 to 2017. At this young age, he has taken the Indian reed, the flute, the basuri, whatever you call, to 45 countries. And he continues to take it to a level that has elevated Indian flute no less than the counterparts in the world. Violin, in fact, originated from Europe, then came to India, and we gave the world a different version of violin. It's equally so the basuri that has gone from us. And the ambassadors of that type of music rest in young shoulders like that of Giant. He has a precocious talent that is destined to take him to great places sooner or later. And I have enough confidence to believe that one day he would come to this Vyasapita, of course to perform, which he will do by himself with Hindustani fusion, and many things will come. Many experiments can be done with him over here. But one day he will come to receive the award in the place where Dr. Subramaniam is sitting, and then justify that this Sabha had honored him at every stage of his evolution as a musician. Arman Khan is the leading light of Hindustani vocal. He is the only musician who has received 2 awards from our Sabha in the same year. Arman came here on the 14th of September this year to receive Bharat Ratna Dr. M.S. Subbulakshmi Fellowship in Music. He has just begun that journey. He has 2 more years to go for that. But he has come back quickly again to receive the Sangeetha Shiromani Award from this Sabha. Son of the legendary Rashid Khan of Calcutta, he has inherited his music, his legacy, and it is on the shoulders to take Rampur Savas Gharana to its rightful place amongst the committee of Hindustani Gharanas in the country and even beyond. And Arman is equal to the task. At a very young age, Arman has shown promise. We used to say that his father Rashid is in university, even at that young age, and he lived for a very short time. Allah thought it fit to take him to his company, that at the age of 55 years to leave. And we missed having a Parampara concert in the month of February this year with Rashid Khan, the son, and with his daughter also coming in for an interlude in general music, which his father agreed, but that was not to be. And I just told him when I met him that Parampara will continue. One day he will create a Parampara through his own generation and come onto this stage and perform for us. Honors, accolades and titles are but small interludes in the musical journey of an artist. They are the ones that give a bout of energy, a little of motivation and enthusement that the grateful society is acknowledging their work. But whenever an artist loses focus of the art and runs after the awards, titles and accolades, then the art will lose its glory and it will die at the hands of the very same person who anchors for awards. I can tell you with certainty that all the Mahanubhavus who are decorating the stage today have never clamored for any awards. They had not lobbied in the American parlance to be eligible to be considered for awards. Of course, they use digital media to promote their art, but there it stops. As I come to the end of my address this evening, may the Jagannatha Kamakoti Kamakshi, that goddess who sheds her grace through her eyes, Kannale Arul Tarum Nayaki Kamakshi, may she bless all these Mahanubhavas. May she give them a long life, a life of purpose, a life which will ensure they accomplish the purpose of this Janma. May the good goddess bless us too, so that we can become partners in progress, hand in hand with the musicians of the current times, to preserve, protect and perpetuate the great virasat of our land, the Indian classical music, and make our life sublime. Thank you and God bless.